Here's how to share boilerplate projects in JDoodle for your students to edit and play around with. Option 1 is the simplest, which is using editable share. Your students won't have to log in for this one even. So we make sure we've saved our project, and then we go down to this editable share button. We're in the JDoodle Python IDE. I do want to share this project, and now I have this permalink URL, which my students can access regardless of whether they've logged in. They can play around with it, make their own changes. If they want to save it, they will need to log in, and they will need to save it as a different project. So even though they can jump in and make some edits here, anything that they edit will not actually be reflected in the URL that you have shared. Only you have the power to make changes to that boilerplate code that's reflected in the shared URL. All right, so that's okay if we just wanted to share some code for our students to play around with. But if we want the students to be able to submit that code or share it back with us, this is where we now need to start using collaborative mode. So what I've done is I can go back here into my dashboard and I can invite students to my team. So you can see I've already invited student 4 and student 5 to my team. I'm able to add them either as a bulk invite with a CSV file or invite them by an email. I have to assign everyone a role. And then at this point, now that they've been invited into my team, I have some super user powers over them. I can see any of their projects. But what I can do, now that they're in my team and they've accepted my invite, is that I can invite them as a collaborator, a view-only collaborator to my project. So I'll delete this collaborator because I only have one allowed collaborator as a free plan user at the moment. And let's invite student 4. Okay, so student 4 by default now has view-only permissions. We're revamping this feature so that you'll be able to invite student groups or groups of people, multiple people at a time. But for now, here I've invited this student as a viewer. And that then means that if I open up an incognito window and I log in as Lucas student 4, now within my IDE, I'll have access to that boilerplate project. Now, if I try and type, nothing's going to happen. I'm not able to save this project because I have view-only access. So as a student, I will now need to save as, and I'm going to name this with my name also, or my student ID, or something that will allow the teacher to identify this project. Because now as a teacher, I'll be able to jump in, see and access my student's project. I've got student 4 here. As a teacher, I have this ability I can write some comments in, or I can make some additions. But most importantly, I can see how my students are going, catch up with their progress, and provide any comments or suggestions. So these are 2 simple ways to share projects with students, share boilerplate code that they can then share back with you or submit to you. We're building in a bunch of other features to make this easier, but right now, this is definitely an easy way to make this work for your student group.